Yo, what is up, guys? Got Shinobi here, back again with another one. And today we got ourselves another reaction. I found this actually really interesting, and also a topic that I feel like needs to be talked about, especially since we're entering an age where a lot of people are buying digital media, and especially if we've seen with the Nintendo Switch 2, with how they're kind of trying to push people away from buying physical copies with the price tag of $90 and having it to where the digital is only 80. I feel like this is definitely important to talk about. But either way, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more. I guess today's title is Ubisoft thinks that we shouldn't own video games, which is absolutely nuts. But let's be real, the only reason they wouldn't want us to own video games is it's a control thing. It really is. And Ackman's probably gonna go over it for a while. This guy's been playing video games for a hell of a fat minute. So let's go ahead and get straight into it.
Things. Do you enjoy having possessions?
Yes.
I mean, I do.
I got a lot of possessions right now.
It's such
shit. My whole desk. I wouldn't say my whole desk. Yeah, yes and no, because I got a lot of anime figures, but my desk is filled with, possessions, aka, anime figures. So, specifically Bleach, if anybody's wondering. Bleach and Sword Art Online. Those are my top two right now. But, yeah, we like owning shit, and Ubisoft doesn't want us to own shit, and that is bad.
such a simple yet genius idea.
Capitalism.
You work to earn money, and then you use that money to buy things, and then you own those things and can do whatever you want with them. It's genius. Why didn't Karl Marx think of this? Now, it might be a bit confusing for some people. Quantum mechanics is also confusing, but it truly sounds like a great deal to me. Hold on, Actaman.
They've been doing it for a while. This has already been done. I can pull out my original Xbox right now, put in my disc of Star Wars Battlefront 2, and EA, Ubisoft, or none of the companies that, whoever the hell made that game, none of them can walk up in there and take it off my damn disc or tell me that I can't play it. Now, we can't say the same for, that racing game that came out that Ubisoft made that people paid for, and then they just, took it off their store, or not took it off the store, but yeah, they took it off the store and took it off people's accounts, without their permission, a game they paid for. They said, nah, you can't have that. But I mean, here's the real question, honestly. We out here talking about, is Ubisoft right, and should we not own games? The real question we should be asking here is, how many more L's is Ubisoft gonna take before they just go bankrupt?
And you say, I'm a senior executive at a multi-billion-dollar video game publishing company, and I don't have enough money.
I can't
what
buy
do
my
I do?
sixth yacht, man.
Oh, well, in that case, you should just do what Ubisoft is doing and simply delete people's digital possessions that they paid for.
This shit is so stupid, bro. Like, there have been games that, hell, have been live service. I can't name a lot of them because I didn't play a lot of them. But I know that there have been games where once the game is not getting any more updates, any more development, instead of just, taking it from people, they just let the community have it. Because they're not making any money off it. There's no copyright issue. They're not doing nothing with it, so they just let the community have it. Just, like, I don't know what the hell is going on now these days, but, like, it's a lot of weird shit, but oh my god.
And, just tell them to go fuck themselves. What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today, let's talk about video games.
I feel sorry for anybody who bought The Crew, cared about that game a little bit, and then, you want to go back and play it, even though there's not any offline. You just want to go back and play it just for the vibes. Now, you can't do that no more. You can't do that no more, because they just took it off of your account. I dare them to try and do that in my old Sword Art Online games. I dare them. They will be held to pay.
Game ownership, and why this incredibly straightforward concept of paying for something and owning it is so complicated these days.
It's not.
Ubisoft.
The only thing complicated here is about how the CEO is going to get his sixth yacht. There isn't nothing complicated about, oh, you're not making any money off the game no more? Okay, let the players have it. There's nothing complicated about that, and they have been doing it since the games have been on a disc. Back when you had to buy the game off of a disc, back when games had to be made, you know, and there was no updates or anything like that. They just had to be put on a disc and put on the shelves. You know, back in those days, you could buy a game and you don't have to worry about some company trying to say, oh, you can't play it no more. We're just going to take it off your Xbox. We're just going to take your CD. We're going to come to your house and rob you after you already paid for our product. Because that's essentially what's happening here with Ubisoft. Is they're basically telling you, yeah, you paid for the game. Yeah, it's yours. Or it looks like it's yours. But because it's online, we're just going to, have the power to take that from you. And say when and when not you're allowed to play our game. That's basically what happened here. We basically went into your house, said, hey, it was a good time, but we're going to need that game off your hands, even though you paid for it already. We're going to need to take that off your hands real quick. They basically walked up in the house and robbed them.
Ubisoft doubles down. Buying digital games does not grant players any rights to, quote, unlimited access. Oh, man. You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
Just stop owning things. That's a concerning headline if I've ever read one. What the heck is this all about? Well, near the end of 2024, you may have heard about some niche racing game called The Crew, released back in 2014. And the reason this seemingly innocuous game was making headlines
I was playing
is
Forza
because
during this point,
Ubisoft,
bro.
the publisher, had
I'm not
decided
gonna lie,
to
I was playing a hell of a lot
literally
Forza.
delete digital copies of the game from users' accounts.
Like, bro, imagine, let's take a game like, I don't know, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Imagine you bought Dragon Ball Sparking Zero digitally, right? And you're playing the game, you're having fun. Years go by eventually, people stop playing and whatnot. But you want to go back and just experience the good old days with you playing the, game with your boys in your house. Even though the game isn't getting live support no more or nothing like that, just imagine that, you want to go back and play that game. And then Bandai just comes in and it's like, yeah, we're going to take that off your account real quick. You can't play. We decide when you get to play Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. We get to decide when you don't get to play it. Hell, we get to decide whether you even have the game or not. We're just going to walk in your house and take the CD. We're just going to walk in your, we're just going to take your, you see now why I said this is an important subject? Because if this keeps happening, and I'm glad Ubisoft is taking the L here, but if this keeps happening and people actually start, just getting used to it, this could be the future. But luckily for us, people are actually pissed off about this kind of thing, even though it's The Crew, which isn't really, a well-known racing game. People are, enraged about this because this could happen with any other game in the market right now that's out. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Bleach Rebirth of Souls. If you buy any Nintendo game, if you buy the game and then, for whatever reason, the developer just has the power to take the stuff off your account, even though you paid for it, and it's not no live service game like Withering Waves or Genshin Impact, it's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. And once again, this whole thing about, people buying a game and then being able to play it even after the service is done, this isn't a new concept. They've been, once again, doing this since the game's been made on a disc. So why Ubisoft is out here doing this nonsense is beyond me. But, imagine you go to Dragon Ball Sparking Zero to play your game, and this is the screen you get, bro.
It's such a bizarre thing to do. It's more weird than Nintendo being like, hey, here's the Mario Superstars, but it's only available for a year to buy. At least it's a limited time purchase, but people paid for this game and now you're taking access away. Now, to be fair, The Crew was an online only game, and naturally these have a limited shelf life. Remember MAG? I do, barely. Regrettable as it is, I think most gamers understand that online services, especially for older games or older consoles, aren't going to be around forever.
Nope.
That's fair, but to go a step further and manually delete this game from people's accounts is wild. It's shady business. I don't know why you would do that, except to prevent people from modding it or accessing the files or really playing it ever again. When the publisher decided to shut down the servers, the game became inaccessible to those who had purchased it in both physical and digital.
Okay, see that I didn't know. I thought it was just the digital. Physical form too? So you're telling me if I was to buy a copy of The Crew right now, somehow find it in some Value Village, and I put that in my PS5 or my Xbox, you're telling me that shit wouldn't work? Yeah, and the people who are filing the lawsuit did this in November of 2024. Oh, this happened recently. Oh yeah, Ubisoft, bro, they're just taking nothing but L's, bro. Nothing but fucking L's. Cause how are they gonna try and excuse this? I'm really curious.
Form. Although the community had made efforts to keep the game alive as much as possible,
I'm really
the big
curious
surprise
to
came
see
when
what
Ubisoft
Ubisoft's
deleted the
defense
digital
is going
copies.
to be for this.
This led to a
Especially
group of
considering
users
people got
filing a lawsuit.
They took the game off to where you couldn't even play it physically. It makes sense that you can't play the game online, you know, with people. But why can't you play the game with, you know, the bots? Or just play the game in general? Like, why are you taking it off of people's accounts? Like, what is that bullshit? I can understand shutting down the online servers. That makes sense. But taking the game off of people's shit, you know, after they bought it, isn't that illegal? Like, once again, this isn't like Genshin Impact where it's a free-to-play game that you could just hop in and spend money on, you know, in-game purchases. This is a game you had to spend money to even get. And they just went ahead and took it off? Excuse me? Yeah.
In early November 2024.
An
actual lawsuit
Ubisoft, you're taking the L on that one. There's no defense
People
for that.
got so pissed off. I know. I hadn't heard of The Crew prior to this either. But for some people, like, they have their favorite game and they don't want to change, and they'll put thousands of hours into it, no matter how old it is, no matter what new games come out. Some people just have their mindset. I'm not gonna lie,
this trailer, I mean?
And this is an example.
I've seen it so many times. It's one of the hardest trailers I've seen in my life.
Make it playable for them in some way, so you can avoid this whole fiasco. But no, you don't own this game. You bought it in 2014. Sorry, we're revoking your access. Ubisoft has been hit with a lawsuit accusing them of misleading users about the fact that they had a revocable license.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. If they had put in the game's contract, or even made it just flat out and said, hey, when you buy this game, there's a chance that we can revoke it. There's a chance that we could just take the game away from you. If they had put that in fine print, then, hey, at that point, it wouldn't be Ubisoft's fault, because they clearly told you that they could revoke the game later on if they wanted to. But they didn't do that. They did not put in their contract, as far as I know, that they could just revoke the game at any time. There's nothing in that even says that. Once again, it's the whole thing of, we're gonna let you buy the game, and then after a couple of years, we're gonna walk in your house and just take it from you. That's basically what they just did.
It's the crux of the issue, right? The plaintiffs who purchased the game themselves claim that Ubisoft deceived players who thought they were buying a game when instead they were only getting a license to it, even when acquiring a physical copy. Additionally,
I'm gonna be real. At that point, why were you even selling the game if you guys were gonna do this in the first place? Make it free to play at that point, and just put microtransactions in the game if you want to do that, or whatever you gotta do to, you know, monetize your game. But do that instead. Don't be having people buy the game, which would probably, you know, back in 2014, the game probably was $40 to $60, and then turn around and be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna take that off your hands real quick. You know, even after you bought it, you know, after you spent your hard-earned money on it, we're just going to take that from you. This isn't a gacha game. This isn't some live service game. You know, this ain't a free game. You got to buy it first to play it, but we're still going to take it away from you. Like, what the fuck are you smoking?
They proposed that Ubisoft falsely represented the idea that the software files were in its physical discs.
You should call them
so
Ubisoft,
this happened
bro,
back in 2014, and that's where we come to today, where Ubisoft is doubling down on this idea that, oh, you purchased this thing, over a decade ago, sorry, we can just revoke your access. And that sets a shocking precedent for any Ubisoft title in the future, regardless of if it's online only or not. And here's where I stand, right? If you're Ubisoft and you got this small group of people that care this much about an old game, just let them fucking play
Just
it.
let them have it.
Find a way. Why risk turning this into a massive PR scandal when you are Ubisoft and you already have enough of those going on?
I'm about to say, bro,
right
you're
now?
already
It comes
deep
at
in
a
the
really
fucking
bad time
water, bro.
because I don't know about you, but it seems like big corporations and the world's global economy has been shifting towards this like subscription service. Companies don't want you to own anything. They don't want you to own DVDs. They don't want you to own movies. They want you to rent everything.
Yep.
So you have temporary access and you become reliant on paying
I'm
that
paying
monthly.
them, bro. That's why I don't. The only reason I don't even pay for it no more because I don't use my Xbox as much anymore. But the only reason I was back in the day before I got my PS5 paying for Xbox Gold was so I could play online with friends. I wasn't out there renting games. Like all the games that I have, I can play them offline unless it's like a live service game like Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, or anything like that. You know, if it's like a live service gotcha game or anything like that, obviously you're gonna need the internet to play it. Though I digress. I think they could make those games off. I feel like even if those games were to go end of service and they had to shut down the servers, that they could keep it to where you could still play with the game after it's done. I feel like they can still do that. In fact, I don't even think that's impossible. I think we've had that happen. Where you have a gotcha game or some game that was mainly online focused or had to be updated over and over again. But once the game went end of service, they let people still play it even though it was done being updated. You know, and you didn't need internet to play it at that point on because they weren't updating anymore. You could just hop in and play. It's not impossible. The only reason that you wouldn't allow people to play it, even though the game is done, is just I don't know if it's for money because you don't even get any money for keeping it like that. Like it doesn't even make sense. It sounds like control to me. Once again, like I said in the beginning of this video, it sounds like they want to control what games you can play, what games you can't play, when you can play them, and when you can't play them. It's a control thing.
Fee to have access to the things you want. But you know what? If buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing.
It's facts.
Now let me give you something to compare this with, right?
And I don't condone pirating. I say support the product if you really want to. But if this is the route we're going down, well, then at that point, hell, it's fucking we about to become Luffy going down the grand line up in here. We about to become Luffy up in this bit.
So, I'm about to say something good about EA.
Ah, shit. Here we go.
I know. Crazy times.
We are some crazy times.
Fucking amazing RTS FPS hybrid game that came out called Command and Conquer Renegade. It's a shooter unlike any game you have ever played. Trust me. Totally unique, had a kick-ass multiplayer.
Give me
the
the
servers
Halo.
were live on games.
This game is giving me flashbacks to like the old days playing Halo and whatnot.
By for quite a while, but as with all good things, it inevitably came to an end and the servers were shut down.
Right.
But still, many hardcore fans remain because no other FPS game is quite like Command and Conquer Renegade. And this small group of fans took it upon themselves to create a sort of spiritual successor to Renegade called Renegade X. It is totally free, has been supported and updated for over a decade, and expands on the original vision far beyond what I think anybody expected. The developers behind Renegade X at Totem Arts make a total of $0 from this game. They have not only preserved the multiplayer of an old classic that would have died out and been totally forgotten, they've added a ton of content to it. And EA, despite being within their full legal rights to DMCA the fuck out of Renegade X, they instead have given Totem Arts their blessing to keep updating this game. Nobody's making money from it. It's just for the love of the game.
This will be the only W that EA gets, bro. I bet the only reason they even did that is because it's not 2K, FIFA, or fucking a football game or something. Because trust me, you try doing that with any of those games, they ain't allowing that. They need that money for those games. Still a W nonetheless, because they could have just said, fuck it, just be dicks and said, nah. because we know how greedy EA is. But I guess we kind of give them a little bit of a W though, a little bit, not too much, just a little bit of a W there.
This mod is EA approved, and you know, we've shit on EA.
And the reason I say it's a little bit of a W is how it might even be a big W. Because I'm gonna be real with you, I don't think Nintendo would even do this. Like, if somebody was trying, but if somebody was to try to make a Nintendo Pokemon game, that's been dead for a while, and bought the fuck out of it, and they got caught, Nintendo and their freaking ninjas would be on their ass in 24 hours. Not even that, they'd be on in 5 minutes.
EA a lot over the years, but gotta give credit where credit is due. That's really cool. Do you think Nintendo would do something
bro.
like that?
They tried to shut down Power World over that
fucking
kind of
Smash
crap.
Melee tournaments. They shut that shit down religiously. Examples like Renegade X should not be the exception to the rule. They should be the standard,
bro.
Right?
The
if Ubisoft
standard.
isn't gonna sell the crew, if they're not gonna support it, if they don't give a fuck about it, then
just give it to the people
fans.
who actually
care. It's been over a
care.
decade. If there's people that still care about it, who gives a fuck? This doesn't seem like a copyright issue if you come to an agreement, right?
Like, nobody's
like
making
if they
money
don't
off
enforce
of
their
it.
copyright, they lose the copyright. But it doesn't seem like it's a copyright issue at all. It just seems like part of some new policy where Ubisoft wants to have the power to decide what games you own and what games you don't.
Yep.
Ubisoft reminds us of a sad reality about video games. Boy, you could say that again. They have
Sheesh.
responded to the lawsuit filed by California gamers who claim that the French company's actions, quote, violate the state's consumer protection laws. Now, I don't know how to begin unpacking.
I'm not a lawyer.
Video game
I'm
law,
not
let
a
alone
lawyer, bro.
international
You're gonna have
video
to explain
game
that
law.
to me in the
But
comments
you
section.
go, King. However,
Y'all gonna
Ubisoft
have to
failed
explain
to
that
dismiss
one.
the case.
All I do know is that if somebody buys a product, it's theirs. If somebody buys a product, it is theirs, done deal. There should be no reason why the people making the product should be able to take it back from them at all. If you buy it, it is yours. Plain and simple. None of this take backsies nonsense after the person's already bought the product. Like, what is this? What do we, once again, they walked into these people's houses, saw the crew, and took that shit, and it's like, y'all ain't playing that no more. Wild work. Wild work.
With its lawyers arguing that there is no reason for gamers to believe that they had unfettered ownership rights in the game.
Why? Oh my god.
They bought it. They bought it though.
This isn't like... They bought the fucking game. They bought the fucking game. This isn't a free-to-play game, bro. If it was a free-to-play game, and on top of that, you put in the clause that you could take it off at any time, then it wouldn't matter, bro. We wouldn't be having this conversation, but they bought the physical... That's the thing that gets me. It's not even like it's just a digital, only online game. They bought the physical, the disc, bro. There are some people out there who have the crew disc right now and can't play the shit because these idiots took it off of their damn accounts.
Like World of Warcraft, where even back in the day, everybody knew and understood, yeah, I'm paying for a subscription to the game. This just seems like Ubisoft making a mountain out of a molehill, and it sets a very strange and shocking precedent for the future.
Shit. Yeah, the future is that Ubisoft is fucked. They're definitely gonna get bought out by another studio, and good riddance when they do, bro, because Jesus Christ, they are taking nothing but L's out here.
Right? What, like, if they could just revoke your access at any time, like, why the fuck would you buy a game from them?
Shit, they might as well
Ubisoft
put me in
continues
Death Note
to
with
say,
how many L's
frustrated with
they've been taking out
Ubisoft's
here.
recent decision to retire the game following a notice period delineated on the product's packaging, plaintiffs apply a kitchen sink approach on behalf of a putative case of nationwide customers, alleging 8 cases of action including violations of California's false advertising law, unfair competition, and Consumer Legal Remedies Act, as well as common law
False
fraud and
advertisement.
breach of warranty claims.
Yeah, I'm about to say false
The case is
advertisement
still
right
ongoing,
there.
however. In March, the plaintiffs added an addendum with new allegations against the company, stating that Ubisoft is
Bro, I hope that they sue Ubisoft for all they're worth, bro. I really hope. This should be an easy case, but I don't know, man. If Ubisoft has enough money to pay off the judge, then they could probably win. But I hope that Ubisoft gets sued for everything that they got, bro, because this company has been on the downtrend for a fat minute, bro.
Violating rules regarding the sale of gift certificates, which they argue could be considered the crew's currency. Since gift cards cannot expire in California, the plaintiffs argue that when the crew closed, so did the in-game credit. Ubisoft now has until April 29th to respond. Now, at this point, you might be losing the argument if you stoop down to, like, gift cards.
I'm about to say, yeah.
This is just my impression.
Leave the gift cards out of it, bro. Stick with the gaming. You're going a little bit too far with the gift cards, bro. Just stick with the fact that you bought the game, it's yours, and the fact that Ubisoft was able to just take that from you is wrong. That is anti-consumer as fuck. That is anti-consumer as fuck, because you bought the game, it is yours. It doesn't matter if they take off the online servers. You should still be able to at least own the game, play against bots, mod the game, whatever you want, because they're not even making money off of this anymore either. And that's another thing. This game has been out for 10 years. Why the fuck did they even bother to take it off the store? Why did you care so much? I know that their server, I know they gotta shut down the servers, fine, but why did you take it off people's accounts? That's what I'm trying to find out. Well, I think we know why. I mean, we know that much, but like still. And they did it to a small game like the Crew too. They did it to the Crew, thinking that nobody was gonna make a big deal of it, I bet. And then these guys did, and now it's spreading all over the place. And Ubisoft, they're already taking a lot of heat as it is, and now they're really getting cooked. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
Of things, but it seems like the fans or the plaintiffs in this case just want to fucking play the game however they can. They're probably rightfully pissed off that the game has been torn away from them, and at the same time it seems like Ubisoft is taking this hyper legal approach when going the route of EA and Renegade X would probably satisfy everyone just fine. I don't understand what's so hard about, like, I don't know, allowing these people to mod the game, make their own private servers. Fuck it, why not? The reason this is a story and not some random game just being shut down that nobody cares about is the implication, right? If they pull the plug on servers for old games like this, even for people who paid full price, it's like they just bought a license. They didn't buy the game, which is just renting with a couple extra steps.
Yeah, at that point, they might as well just put it on Game Pass and say that you can't buy it, but you can rent it. That's what they might as well do, if they're going to do something like that. But obviously they're not, because they need you to pay for the game because they need their money, which is why this whole thing's happening in the first place, because you got people who paid for the game, physical or digital, and then 10 years later, Ubisoft's like, all right, we get to take the game away from you now. Basically walked in their house, took the shit, walked out, said, hey, good luck. Play AC Shadows. That game is getting cooked right now as we speak. We really need the money. The reason why they do this, once again, he said it before, it's control. They want to decide when you can play these games and what games you can play, which is scummy as fuck, but it's Ubisoft, so, I mean, this ain't new. This ain't nothing big or surprising, honestly.
And if you put yourself in the business mindset, you would understand why, if you're Ubisoft, you would want to kind of crack down on video game ownership, right? Because buying a game, that's just one purchase, and then, well, if you give players complete access to mod it, then maybe they won't buy your next game. Yeah, talk to Valve about that one. Talk to Valve. They've dealt with that once or twice. Really, it just seems like this issue boils down to control. By controlling and selling licenses, they can revoke access anytime, prevent you from reselling the game, trading it in, doing whatever, prevent you from owning it, even if it's an always online game. Like, Microsoft may have shut down the OG Xbox Live servers and the 360 servers, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you can still hop in there. I can pull up my original Xbox right now, put in Halo Combat Evolved, and play that shit. I'm not going to have Bungie walk up in here and be like, hey, this shit's mine, just take the disc. Now, I can play that game right now, regardless of the fact that the servers are down. Like, once again, this isn't anything new. They have been doing this since the games have been coming out on a disc. So why Ubisoft thinks they can do this bullshit and nobody gonna yap about it is beyond me. But once again, Ubisoft has been just taking nothing but L after L for the last couple of freaking, years at this point. So this ain't nothing new, but like, bro, come on now. Like, we going back in time, bro? Like, old games from the early 2000s got this feature where you can play them regardless if the servers are working or not. Why the fuck are you trying to take a game in big 2025 as of right now off the store and say, nope, you can't have it no more, even though they bought the damn game? Jesus Christ, man.
You can still hook up your OG Xboxes with your boys and play Halo 2 on a LAN. You can do the same with 360 with Halo 3, to my knowledge. And even if you don't want to go through all those hoops, well, MCC is a pretty cheap alternative. So if you're not going to offer an alternative, then that is a problem. Then we get into pirating territory.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might also be part of this trend of remakes, remasters, and re-releases where companies don't want to make new games. They just want to, resell you 10, 15, 20-year-old games again. There's a lot of weeds in this issue, but I hope I've carved a small path to lead you to the oasis. In conclusion, Ubisoft, come on, dog. Just let these people play the game, figure out some way, let them have mod access. Nobody gives a fuck about the crew except a small handful of people. Why are you litigating such a meaningless issue unless you want this to become a precedent? If you're just gonna delete the game...
I mean, shit, at this point, they might want the drama, bro. It's gonna be the only drama they're gonna have after they get fucking shut down. Shit, they might as well milk it as they want attention. They might as well milk it while they can, because on the streak that they're going right now, Ubisoft might not even be a company name anymore. Freaking Ubisoft might not even be a company in the next couple of years, the way that this is going, bro.
Game forever. Why not let somebody else do something with it? As long as they don't make money, it should be fine. And I've never said this before, but Ubisoft, you should do what EA is doing with Renegade X.
Facts.
What do you think? Do you hate owning things? Are you going to purchase a game and then 10 years later realize you don't actually own it? If so, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed.
I'm letting you know right now, bro. I mean, I was never a big fan about Ubisoft anyways. I'm going to be real. I was never a big, we love Ubisoft out here, but like, they just been... I don't know what they're smoking, bro. But, I mean, that's pretty much gonna be it. Pretty good video, if I do say so myself, and also really important, because I think this kind of stuff needs to be talked about, especially since we live in a day and age where we are, slowly moving into, like, a more, digital product-centered, time, where they're prioritizing more digital products than physical. It's why I always end up, if I can, buying the physical, because just in case something like this happens. But I guess even then, that doesn't matter if they just take the game off your damn account. But I guess that's just only Ubisoft for now, and hopefully no other company tries this crap. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts down below about this whole situation, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.